The European Union's battle against US internet giant Google is about to get even hotter. MEPs are set to vote on a non-binding resolution that will break up the company and curb its power due to growing concerns over its dominance in the online search market. Yusra Mehdi has more.
The European Union's long-standing antitrust case with Google is reaching a new level. The bloc's parliament is now preparing a vote next week on a resolution aimed at breaking up the internet search giant. The draft measure cited by the Financial Times calls on the EU Commission to consider proposals with the aim of unbundling search engines from other commercial services, as it demands an end to Google's illegal and discriminatory treatment. The non-binding motion does not mention Google by name, but the company is by far the only dominant search engine with an estimated 90% market share. The latest move is part of a bitter dispute between Google and the EU that is increasingly escalating. The case is now backed by rival Microsoft, who argues that it uses web search to stifle competition in other areas, such as shopping comparison. For his part, EU's incoming Digital Commissioner Gunther Oettinger warned that a settlement in Google's case would cement its strength in the market rather than diluting it. MEPs and European politicians have attacked Google over many issues, from privacy to tax policies. And now this vote, which is seen as extremely rare in the European Parliament, aims to effectively single out Google, either by taking a tougher stance on its antitrust case or by curbing laws to diminish its influence in the market.
Now, joining us live over the phone is Professor in International Economics Keith Pilbeam. Keith, thank you very much firstly for joining us. Now, firstly, undoubtedly, Google will feel hard done by after this case. Now, what exactly has Google done wrong?
Well, it's difficult to see actually what Google is doing wrong, to be honest. The European Commission seems to have some concerns about Google, but at the end of the day, people use Google and they're free to use other services, but they choose not to.
Okay, so how much will this case then affect Google?
Well, obviously it's going to tie up their lawyers for a while, and they're going to have to argue with the European Commission. But I really don't think the EU has got a very good case here. It's not like the Microsoft monopoly case from a few years ago. Simply, if you don't like Google, you don't use it.
Okay, so this notion then that Google is monopolizing the market, some would say that the British government has monopolized the private sector with the TfL and the NHS. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, that's another debate entirely, but you can't make comparisons here. I mean, the access, most of people have access to computers these days via their smartphones or the internet via their smartphones or their computers. And really, companies like Google offer services. And really, as far as I can see, if we've got a European competitor, so much the better, but we don't.
So what would be the next step then if these procedures against Google don't work?
Well, if we see the Commission can do all sorts of things to make life difficult, but the person they're going to make life difficult for is actually the consumer. Google will find ways around it, and all that's going to be harmed is consumers. I mean, politicians might not like what Google does, but it does it very successfully.
Okay, so do you envisage then the drastic measures such as the public breakup of Google? How would they go about doing this then, the EU?
Well, they certainly can't go breaking up a successful American company. I mean, they would be delusional. I mean, this would cause transatlantic tensions. You can't have, European politicians breaking up an American company, especially if the Americans don't too concerned about Google themselves.
Okay, then we're just going to have to leave it there. Professor in International Economics Keith Pilbeam, thank you very much for joining us.